I'd like to introduce Dani from Ireland. Welcome, Dani.
Hello.
Could you tell us what led you to look into LDN?
Well, I came across it by accident, really. My history is that I'd had long-term fatigue since I was a child, probably, I would say it was around 10 or 11 years of age. And, I'd sort of dealt with that, just in my own way throughout my lifetime because nobody really took it seriously. And then more recently, at the end of last year, I started to get a lot of neurological symptoms, and I went to a GP. My own GP told me I was stressed, and then I went to another GP who actually thought my B12 levels were very low, and they gave me B12 injections for about 10 weeks, and I improved. Some of my symptoms improved quite, and resolved, but I was still quite ill. So on top of that, I discovered that I had a gas leak, and so I'd been having chronic carbon monoxide poisoning, so that's resolved. But I was left with a lot of peripheral neuropathy, and I went to another GP, and he actually prescribes LDN to a lot of his patients. Now, he looked over my case history, numerous blood tests going back, say a year with different GPs, and he said, would you like to try it? It's worth a go, because I'm waiting to see a neurologist and a cardiologist. And I said, yeah, because at this stage I really have nothing to lose, and if one of the differential diagnoses is MS, I might as well start now rather than later. So but that's where I'm at. So I've been taking LDN, I don't know, for about, let's see, now my memory, but it's got to be about at least 2 months, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah.
You said that these problems started when you were 11. How old are you now?
I'm 30. I'll be 37 in July.
Okay. So you managed to get hold of LDN. Did you have any initial side effects when you started?
No, none at all. Actually, it was really good. It actually helped with sleep, and I find that's the biggest thing. It helps me get off to sleep, which I know a lot of people actually have problems with insomnia, but no, for me it's been.
And in the 2 months or so that you've been taking LDN, have you noticed any improvements?
Yeah, I have noticed. It's not, it's not like a eureka moment or anything, but what I would notice is that I've been able to start getting back to doing some exercise, which I was unable to do for the last 2 or 3 years. There's something has shifted. I don't know exactly what it is. Whether it's because it's helping my sleep, or I'm not really entirely sure. But I know that I have windows now where I have more energy or feel a little bit more normal.
What about your neurological symptoms?
Well, no, they're still there, and it's a very mixed. They're there, but they're actually, when I did start taking it, they did reduce. But it's very hard to tell whether it was purely down to the LDN, because I have a family history of B12 deficiency, pernicious anemia on one side of the family, and I took B12 injections. They helped a lot of things. Then I had the carbon monoxide poisoning, which was happening around the same time. And my family, my dad and my uncle have MS, so there's a family history of that as well. So it's very hard to tell what's causing what, but for sure it did relieve it a little bit. But I do suspect that there's some nerve damage because of having low B12 for so long. That's my own feeling.
So will you be continuing to take LDN?
Yeah, I think I will. Yeah, until I haven't had any MRIs, or I haven't had no further neurological investigations, so I'll only be having those in June. So until I know more, yeah, I see, as far as I'm concerned, I see LDN as a long-term thing. Okay.
Well, what I suggest, and this is where we're going to end the interview for now, is that I give you a call in July, say, and do an update.
Yep. That's fine.
Okay, so I'll just do an end, and then we will put the edits in later.
That's no problem, yeah. Good.
Well, thank you, Dani, very much for sharing your story with us.
You're welcome.
You talked openly. Okay. Shush. let me just say it, and then you can speak. Because not the poor Simon who edits it pulls his hair out, and I don't think he's got much, have you, Simon? Okay. Well, thank you very much for sharing your story with us, Dani.